Welcome to the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We are recording live on Hangouts on Air on November 8, 2015. We always start out with the worst stories that happened in communication the previous and BL, you always have the honors. What was the worst story this week?
Well, in my humble opinion, it was Donald Trump's exhibition of his most vile behavior to date, during which he tweeted a series of images that included a photo of Bush family members next to a Nazi flag with a big swastika on it, and the text in all caps said the Bush crime family. And then it was taken down. But, you know, Mr. Trump, what goes online stays online. And so it's still there. It isn't ever going away. And it's another record of your reprehensible and unpresidential behavior. And a spokeswoman for his campaign with the improbable name Hope Hicks told the Today Show and several other media outlets that Trump simply hadn't seen the image attached to the tweet. You know, the one he tweeted. It was retweeted by Mr. Trump like hundreds of others. He didn't see the accompanying image, and it's been deleted. No, it hasn't.
So this was a tweet that he retweeted, or a tweet that originated from his account that was uploaded with an image?
He retweeted something, and that was his image. That was his image. He denied it later, but that was his image. Yeah, well, he's out of control. I mean, he's just out of control.
There used to be a maxim in politics that you don't really compare anything to the Holocaust or to Nazi Germany or Hitler, and that's gone by the wayside. That's happened.
Oh my God, has it ever? Yeah, that was his worst one yet. You know, it really was. Who knows what he said on Saturday Night Live, because I wasn't watching. 500,000 signatures asking them not to have him host, and they had him host because all they cared about was the ratings, and I'm sure they were big.
Well, I don't have anything near that, but this is this is a bit of silliness and ridiculousness that I've noticed over the past, I don't know, couple of months. It has to do with pharmaceutical advertising. And there's apparently a trend in pharmaceutical advertising of, all I can call it is silliness and perhaps laziness. The example I'll use, except there are more examples, but the example I'll use is a Tanzium commercial. I don't even know what Tanzium does because I'm too focused on their commercial. But it features the product is a weird blue bottle of the product that sits in the doctor's room while the doctor's explaining to the patient what it does. It walks alongside the patient or the subjects of the commercials in the commercial, and it's just a weird purple mascot-y thing that looks like a bottle.
It plays golf, right?
Follows it around the subjects around the golf course, on the beach. It's walking alongside the subjects of the commercial in the beach as the voiceover explains the chemistry of the pharmaceutical, of the benefits and the side effects of the drug. Some of the YouTube comments on this commercial sort of encapsulate my feelings on it. One of which is, "This is the most lazy pill commercial I have ever seen in my life. Did someone actually get paid to make this?" And yes, yet another childish, hastily thrown together, insulting commercial from a stupid blue mascot thing. F you. That's the comment from the YouTube commenter. There's another one that has a pill walking around. A mascot is a pill walking around with the subject of it. It's just weird. I just don't get it.
Well, the really creepy one is this sleeping pill, Basundra or something, and it's got this little gray furry thing that's sort of cat-like, and it forms the letters awake, and it's got a white one that says asleep, and that one goes under the bed, and then the creepy gray one comes up and keeps her awake, and finally somehow she takes the pill, and then the gray one goes away, but it's still following her all over the neighborhood, and the white one, I don't know, it curls up in her arms and they go to sleep. But meanwhile, they're saying, you know, when they do the side effects, that you may not be able to move after you take the pill. Like, temporarily, you're paralyzed. Right, I want to take that pill.
Yeah, I find the disclaimers, the side effects, entirely
God.
entertaining listening to.
I know for sure that there was like a, what is it called? An Easter egg in one ad that I saw, because I always read those because they're so astounding and horrifying. You would never take a drug after you read the side effects. And this one said it was some kind of diabetes drug. And it said, will cause an uncontrollable desire to play golf.
We did mention in a podcast, I can't remember what episode, but many episodes ago, a study indicating that the fact that they list all these side effects in the ads actually increases trust in the product, because they figure you're being transparent and everything. So there's apparently a psychological effect of those.
So what did you think was the worst, Dave?
But it's more just weird, but this one in particular is pretty bad. Companies are attacking consumers for bad reviews. Now we've seen some instances of companies responding to bad reviews online that are pretty bad. But this is so bad that Congress now is trying to step in. This is from a BuzzFeed article by Hamza Saban. I apologize. So companies are including non-disparagement clauses in the terms of their sales agreement. They cite a company, the article cites a company called Clear Gear, with a K, Clear Gear, that claimed a customer's negative review violated their non-disparagement clause in the terms of sale agreement. They threatened the customer with a $3,500 penalty unless the review that this customer posted was taken down. The clause prohibits Clear Gear customers from taking any action that negatively impacts cleargear.com.
How could that be legal?
Its reputation, products, services, management, or employees, end quote. I mean, I guess if you have an agreement and it's in a legal document and people agree to it, then it's legal, I guess. But
well, that's one of those things, like the terms of use.
Yeah, that nobody reads. Yeah. So the customer tried to get the review removed, but they couldn't because review sites don't do that, right? Clear Gear reported the $3,500 penalty charge as an unpaid debt to credit reporting agencies.
Oh, come on, then they got collection calls?
It took the customer 18 months to remove the debt from their credit report. So this is an example of companies doing this. Congress is moving to ban the practice. TripAdvisor has advocated for a ban of the non-disparagement clauses, not surprisingly. TripAdvisor warns their customers on their platform of businesses who employ so-called gag clauses, viewing the unscrupulous behavior as a hindrance to the free market, working to chill free speech. Well, of course it does. Placing a muzzle on one's customers with contractual boilerplate that goes against everything we stand for at TripAdvisor. So these clauses unfairly expose customers to legal liability. Even when the critical review, Senator John Thune, chair of the Senate Commerce Committee, is sponsoring legislation that would ban the gag clauses, granting the FTC the power to go after companies who use them. Thune is joined by fellow Republican Senator Jerry Moran in putting forth the Consumer Review Freedom Act, along with Democratic Senators Claire McCaskill, Brian Schatz, Richard Blumenthal. So an example, perhaps, of a rare instance of bipartisan agreement. And I think we
vote
can all
for
agree
them.
to. Yeah.
So, you and I have many times praised Lego because Lego does such wonderful things, and their charitable work is great. Their campaigns are great. And until now, I thought everything they did was really great, and I hope that they're going to relent on this, but they haven't. And it was controversial enough to show up in Twitter moments. And what happened was that Weiwei, the Chinese artist who's known for his politically charged art installations, he's had big problems over censorship policies and human rights violations, obviously, in China. And his exhibit, Andy Warhol, I think it's Weiwei, was opening at the National Gallery, is opening at the National Gallery of Victoria on December 11th, and it was supposed to feature artwork created with large quantities of Lego. But the bulk order was knocked back, and he published Lego, and he put it on his Instagram account, and they refused to send their Legos, explaining that they can't approve the use of Lego for political works. So when he published that, his collectors and art aficionados came out in force to support him and started sending him buckets full of their Legos. And, you know, he's now got enough Legos to actually do his exhibit. But Lego, what were you thinking?
Yeah, that's I think it has more to do with doing business in China than anything, right? I mean, Google.
But this exhibit is not in China.
Right, but I'm sure that they don't, I suspect that they don't want to offend the Chinese government for some reason. It doesn't make any sense otherwise.
That's terrible.
But China's a huge market, and therefore I think it has a lot of sway in these types of matters.
I'm sure you're right.
Google accommodates them in because they want to do business in that market. So too bad. Here's a instance that I think is sort of all too predictable, but Instagram's organic engagement is continuing to fall. This is from a Social Times article by David Cohen. Social analytics and reporting company Weiwei studied 2,500 brand profile pages on Instagram through September and revealed that there's been a steady drop in organic engagement over the past 6 months. According to their data. So they're saying that Instagram is on the verge of becoming a pay-to-play platform for brands. That's not surprising. It coincides with Facebook's rolling out of Facebook advertising or Instagram advertising for everyone within the Facebook advertising platform. And it's straight out of Facebook's brand page playbook. They have, if you remember the brand pages on Facebook, they introduce them, let everybody build up a lot of followers on Facebook, and once everybody had done a lot of work building their community, they kind of pulled out the virtual rug from underneath their efforts and rolled back through their algorithm the reach that everyone had to their own fans. And, well, if you want to reach those people, you can pay for advertising. Kind of exactly the same thing that's happening with Instagram now. So I think, brands really need to evaluate new social platforms with their eyes wide open in terms of what they're going to do on that. Take into account past performance when evaluating the long-term efficacy of a channel that they're going to use, such as what Facebook has done in the past. So
yeah,
just know what you're getting.
Posts there reach like maybe 10 people unless you pay to boost them. Yeah. Which is really unfortunate. Well, I usually love the work that Crispin Porter Badusky does, but this is ridiculous. This is from a Fast Company Create post by Jeff Beer, and this is about Fruit of the Loom's tuck effect. And I filed it under Trying Too Hard. It's called Tuck in Your Shirt, Change Your Life. And using very dubious science, they make a pitch. Basically, they're trying to sell you their Stay Tucked Crew undershirt. Because really, if you tuck in anything else, you might look a little dorky. But, they have this whole website, and they did this study, and they said that guys who tuck in their shirts make more money, have more dates, are happier in their life, blah, 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 blah. Oh, give me a break.
Well, you know why that is? I'm sure they did.
Because they want to sell you T-shirts.
No. I mean, the results of their study show that people who tuck in their shirts are more
because you can make statistics show anything.
Well, it's because older people tuck in their shirts and they're at the height of their earning potential.
Well, no, they said that they did 25 to 60. They claim that they did that, but
they weighted it a little towards the older end.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
That's trying too hard, I agree.
Yeah, that would be my guess, but I do think that brings us to better news, of which there's quite a bunch, huh?
There is, yeah. I've got this is a quick one. I've been playing, we've mentioned Twitter Curator in past episodes, and they've recently rolled that out to everyone. So now you, too, have access to Twitter Curator at curator.twitter.com.
That lets you do
with it, I haven't really got it. You can do collections on it, yes. You can create collections on it, but it's much more than that, too. So you can curate tweets with your own custom-made timelines, storylines that you can share and embed through collections, build a collection, but you can there's the filtering tools are very rich for this, too. So it's great for storytelling using tweets. But it's also great for finding influencers or people who are interested in your content based on the filtering tools that they have. So I encourage everybody to take a look at that and play around with it. I'm going to do a lot more playing around with it in a couple of weeks.
That's a really good feature. I got a kick out of Carlsbad Beer Beauty for Movember, which is the men's health, grow your beard for men's health charities. And a while back they launched Beard Beauty, which was a limited edition bunch of shaving products, and it's made with real freeze-dried Carlsberg beer, and they did it to raise attention and awareness to men's health issues through the benefits proceed the Movember Foundation, which is the men's charity. And earlier this year they had a line of excuse me, male grooming products, shampoo, body lotion, etc., that had beer. It's called Beer Beauty, and sold out in less than a week. So they have a website, and it has videos of men being shaved and groomed, and they're saying, start November with a clean shave so that you can grow the most stylish facial hair. And then they have tips for growing your hair and products for doing it, and Instagram pictures of people's beards, and it's a lot of fun. It's a really fun thing.
That's great. The whole Movember thing is fascinating to me and laudable in its efforts to raise awareness for men's health stuff. I can't get into the whole beard. I'm just getting
women aren't supposed to shave either.
I think huge beards, just nah.
Well, women aren't supposed to shave, and most of us don't have a big problem with that, I got to tell you. But there's also another nonprofit thing that I liked a lot, the Mars Generation Potato Challenge. And the reason I like that is because astronaut Abby, who's this wonderful 18-year-old aspiring scientist and NASA astronaut, started this nonprofit foundation called the Mars Generation, and it's dedicated to inspiring tomorrow's explorers and advocating NASA's journey to Mars and getting more space enthusiasts and ambassadors. So she starts the Potato Challenge, and on November 12th, they're participating in a one-day fundraising, 24-hour community giving day. It's in Minnesota, Dave, with donors and participants all over the world. And it's a special challenge to, what you have to do is you have to challenge at least one other person, and you have to survive for 24 hours on just potatoes and water. And this will simulate the conditions faced by Mark Watney in the motion picture The Martian. And the ultimate goal is to be saved from Mars by the rest of the world by raising $100,000 in 24 hours. And if they reach their goal, they have a chance to win another $10,000 on that day. And that would put 10 more kids into space camp scholarships. So there are already 500,000 people involved in it. The hashtag is PotatoChallenge. It takes place on November 12th. And the participants are all over the world. They're only pretending to be stuck on Mars, but it's going to be fun. And, look for it. And I certainly hope they meet their goal.
Yeah, well, that's very clever effort by astronaut Abby. She's a daughter, a friend of mine, Nicole Harrison. Yeah, Nicole Harrison's her mother. You can find her Social Nicole on Twitter. She's not surprisingly a very talented marketing and social media person. It's very sweet and very clever and very cool, and she's a very talented young person. I think it's nice that she's taking the Potato Challenge, because potatoes can be made in so many different ways that you can have a variety. Actually,
you could live on it, right? But she started on social media when she was 16. She and I were on a list of 25 women who rock social media. I was so excited to be on a list with her because I think she's so cool.
She is, definitely.
So have you got one first?
So my last good one is IGN, the video game website, is launching a live web TV channel. This is from Digiday, and the reporter is Sahil Patel. And it's the gaming property IGN launched a new 24-hour video channel on the web called IGN1 this past Friday. In order to drive more consistent and engaged viewership of its own platforms throughout the day, it consists of live and taped original IGN shows airing throughout the day. It includes a program guide that tells you what's on air and what's coming up. You can go back and watch programs after the fact. It's part of Ziff Davis's publishing empire. IGN produces more than 1,300 videos a month, including live gameplay streams, news shows, review videos, other live and on-demand content. They're programming it into themed 15-minute, 30-second, and hour-long blocks, just like television. The challenge. Or the channel is mostly a way to package together existing programming. Right now, there's no new programming being created out of it. But according to ComScore, IGN, 16 unique viewers in the US in September. And in terms of video viewership, ComScore data shows IGN.com had more than 2.1 million unique US viewers in September. So I think it's an interesting experiment I'll be watching. Video game industry is huge, bigger than Hollywood, so there's huge demand for it. And when everybody else is going to the social networks to produce content directly within that, this is an attempt at building your own channel on the open web. So I will be.
It's a really interesting idea. You know, I'm watching YouTube Red to see what's going to happen with that, see how many people want to pay and how many people are really bothered by commercials, because I'm not one of them. I kind of like the commercials. But,
I have YouTube Red. I like it. I just got it because I subscribe to the Google Music and it's folded in with that, but I'm enjoying it.
How much does it cost? $10 a month, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's another $10 a month to spend. Speaking of commercials, there's a wonderful IKEA one. It's called The Other Letter, and I found this on WMZQ Radio, and the reporter was Ali Jacobs. And what they showed was kids writing letters. The kids look like they're about 5 or 6 years old, and they write a letter with all the material things they want Santa to bring them. They're going through the IKEA catalog and looking at toys and through all sorts of things, and they have big long lists of stuff that they want Santa to bring. And then they're asked to write one to their parents about what they want from them, and they all want the same thing. They want their parents to spend more time with them, to have dinner with them more often, to go to the movies with them. What they want is time spent with their parents. So at the end of the ad, and they pack all this into 30 seconds or whatever it is, 60 seconds, at the end of the ad, they ask the kid, well, okay, you can only send one letter. Which one do you want to send? And they say the one to their parents. So you need a hanky for that one.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have another one that I thought was really interesting. This one came from Fast Company, from Daniel Turdiman. And it's how Facebook is using AI, artificial intelligence, to help bring photos to life for blind people. And, you know, they do some pretty terrific things. And 4 years ago, they had Accessibility Initiative, which was a project that was led by Jeff Weiland. And over that time, they've worked on ways to improve Facebook's usefulness to the blind, the deaf, and people with other disabilities. And so the main focus for the blind is translating the menu and button structure for stream readers. And my blind friend tells me that that is really the most difficult thing for him because, for example, he has an iPhone and, you know, he can talk to Siri, but he's first got to find out where the button is and how to press it. And he can open apps, but she doesn't always do it. And it's really hard. It's really hard. So what King says is that it's no means perfect at this point, but artificial intelligence is a technology that can provide automated captioning, and it's now at a point where it complements the social tools we provide. It's one of the most promising ways to make content fully accessible. And, you know, the freedom that the algorithms offer to blind people is that, you know, what's most taken away from you when you're blind is your independence. So the guy Thomas, the blind person who they're speaking to, says that being able to post photos and videos and make comments on Facebook without having asked anybody is really empowering. He said, if there wasn't any Facebook and I didn't have any fans and followers that cared about our expeditions, I wouldn't get to keep challenging myself. So Facebook is fuel for the engine that gets me to my goals. And I thought that was really an important development, and I hope that they'll keep going with it. I think it will mean an awful lot to a lot of blind people.
Yeah, it is. It is an important development, and it is something that you don't often think about unless you need it.
Well,
But of technologies, there's a
yeah,
new set of accessibility issues that need to be taken into consideration.
every single one. And speaking of terms of service that you mentioned before, there's a cartoonist who turned the iTunes terms of service into a 47-page graphic novel. We'll have a link to it in the show notes. It's great. The reporter in the story was in The Verge, and the reporter was Lily Palujic, and it's a wonderful graphic novel. And it sort of gives you pause when you see what you're agreeing to every time you use your phone.
An example of a clever use of storytelling to tell a story nobody wants to read.
Yeah,
Right?
but should. So there's one thing, I didn't have a category for this, but this is like beyond bizarre. PooPouri, which is the product that you spray in the toilet so that your poop doesn't smell, has an ad about pooping away from home. And it's directed by Cameron Duddy, who also directed Uptown Funk. An article was in Adweek. Tim Nutt is the author. And the same British spokeswoman who was in their big first commercial. She's involved with a Glee-like series of song and dance routines, and it's choreographed by Sarah Von Gilhern. It's all about carrying PooPouri wherever you go so you can go without embarrassing yourself. And it's quite lively and silly, and I just wondered, does it sell product?
Well, everybody wants to believe that their own
really well, well, I mean, there are all these, there are situations where you really wouldn't want it to, but I don't really want to talk about that. On to that might be another show. On to apps. I got my New York Times yesterday, and there was my second Google Cardboard. And they have virtual reality videos, 3 of them, that go with stories in the New York Times Magazine. They made this wonderful little video explaining what virtual reality is and what the viewer does and all of that. And, that is very cool of the New York Times to do that. And I spoke to some of my neighbors who get the Times, and they were like really baffled by it. I don't know. A lot of people will be really baffled by it, but a lot of people will also really love it. And I was doing a little research, and I was looking at the YouTube 360 video channel, and there are now really, maybe hundreds of 360 videos and they've categorized them on the YouTube channel. And what fun!
Yeah, we talked about. I talked about the YouTube 360 YouTube series for Halloween last episode. But did you watch the migration crisis video that the New York Times had? I believe they're going to release with that cardboard.
I haven't done that yet. There are 3 of them. One is like life inside a refugee camp, and one of them is the migration thing, and I forget what the third one is. But absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, I'm planning on writing. It's part of a trend of immersive storytelling that I am planning to write a blog post on, because it's happening sort of across the board.
It is
in different channels. So it's
going to see it in ads, right? I mean,
yeah,
if it's not already there, we'll see it in ads.
Yeah. I don't have any cool tools. I don't have any shiny
I have another
objects
one.
today. Go
I have
ahead.
another one. To celebrate Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, the San Antonio Convention and Visitors Bureau has an app, and it's Muertogram, and it's a desktop and a mobile site, and you upload a picture, or you can take one, a screenshot, and then you can add skull face paint to pictures that are in your library, or you can make a selfie and upload it and share it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. The holiday is celebrated worldwide. It's to remember and pray for friends and family members who have died. It's All Souls Day in the Catholic religion, and to help celebrate their spiritual journey through festivities, costumes, music, and dance. And they have this big, San Antonio has a huge Mexican Latin population, and they have a 2-day festival that marks the holiday. And it has art, and it has live entertainment, and I've actually been there. It's really great, big fun.
Well, okay, I'll add a cool tool, a shiny new object to that based on what you just said. You mentioned the Day of the Dead, or
Day of the Dead,
just
yeah.
Day of the Dead. Yeah, we just finished Halloween, and I did try out an app for Halloween by The Walking Dead, and it's called Dead Yourself. And so the Dead Yourself app allows you to turn yourself into, of course, a zombie. So you take a selfie of yourself, and then you apply all these different filters on that make you look like a zombie. You can share it on social media. You hashtag the Walking Dead. So it's a great promotional tool for a TV show.
That is a goodie. I like that. So you got some projects?
Yeah, so I was quoted in the Content Standard article on the native content wars this past week. A business strategy for the new social media paradigm is the title of the article by John Montesi, and
I can't hear you, Dave.
This marketing pitching trend is an opportunity for content marketers. I kind of agree with that, but I also think there's some downsides to that. So I wrote I shared. So what typically happens is you share a quote with a reporter for their story, but I tend to write up a whole huge thing and all my thoughts of it, send it to them, and they only use one line out of it. So I turned the rest into a blog, and so that's what I did with this. And I've got a post on our agency blog called "Is Social Media Publishing a Deal with the Devil?" And it's sort of what I talked about before. You need to go into your planning with eyes wide open of where you're sharing your content, where you're publishing your content, because terms of service can change. And so be very, very, very smart.
I've got to read that post. That's an interesting one. I figured that you might be talking about how once you start, you can't stop. That's the deal with the devil I made. I got to keep producing new content all the time, every day. So do you. It does seem like a deal with the devil on some days.
It does.
So that brings us, I believe, to the daily numbers.
All right. So this week we have types of email personalization that will prevent unsubscribing from your list. So this is actions that companies can take to prevent them from subscribers from unsubscribing to marketing, advertising emails, according to email users. Top one is at 40.7% is nothing. I'll unsubscribe anyway. So
that's me.
So it's just out of there. But then, on the other hand, I think results may vary depending on your circumstances. So there are people who subscribe to email lists just to get the promotions, and all they're getting is advertising. Newsletters from restaurants, for example, that you get a deal on your birthday. People will subscribe to that simply to get that. So I think you take these results with your results may vary. But second among them, almost neck and neck, 40.6%, give me the option to receive emails less frequently. That is something that you need to keep in mind. The frequency of your email communications and just overloading your subscribers with too much information can often cause them to unsubscribe. So we'll I'll leave the rest for the blog, but we'll put a link of these results.
You know, I just started using something called Unroll Me that Scott Scowcroft told me about. I unsubscribed from 800 newsletters.
Wow, I'll bet I subscribe to nearly that many.
And you know what? They keep on coming anyway. And so if you ask me, if you say, I can't just unsubscribe, I have to put in my email, I'm not doing that. You're spam now. If I don't want to get it and you don't make it easy, you're gone. But I mean, like, there are these places, like I love Sierra Trading Post, and I get email from them, I would say 10 times a day, and I opted out of that. I asked for email only once every 2 weeks, and so now it comes maybe once a day. I mean, people don't listen. People just don't listen.
You need to honor, you need to respect your subscribers enough to honor their wishes, or they're going to use the spam button. Yep. You're going to get penalized. It's ridiculous. Just be.
That's for sure. So
be nice.
Yes, you have to be nice. Exactly, you do. So that brings us to the end of the show. You want to take it out?
Well, yes, thank you for watching episode 119 of the Beyond Social Media Show. We'll have links to everything on the blog at beyondsocialmediashow.blog. blog, beyondsocialmediashow.com/119 is where you'll find the links to all of the things we talked about today. Let us know what you think of the show. Give us some love or give us some criticism by leaving us a review. You can find places to leave us a review at beyondsocialmediashow.com/love. You can find me on Twitter at @DErickson. My blog is e-strategyblog.com. I also blog at my agency's blog, creativepr.com/blog. BL, you can find at What's Next on Twitter. Her blog is what'snextblog.com. She is at Grand Poobah at maximum-plus.com, where you can hire her for all things video marketing and online events. You can find the show at beyondsocialmediashow.com. We're on Twitter at BS Media Show. And subscribe to the email newsletter so you do not miss an episode and get exclusive content. You can subscribe to the newsletter at beyondsocialmediashow.com/newsletter. It comes out once a week. We will honor your request to unsubscribe if you want to, but I doubt you'll want to. Until next week.
Subscribe. Wait. We're on iTunes and Stitcher. If you don't have time to watch the video or watch us live, you can catch the podcast on iTunes and Stitcher.
Until next week. Thanks for watching.
Same time, same station.